I'd like to introduce you all to Sterling Johnson. Sterling is joining us today from the Ajo CSA, also known as the Center for Sustainable Agriculture. And he's going to give you a little overview of what they are doing there in Ajo and the amazing things that you can also take advantage of. So Sterling, thank you so much for joining us today.
All right, thank you so much. It's just real quick, if you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up. I just want to make sure people can hear me.
This is my audio thumbs up.
All right. Yeah, people in the reactions, if you just give me a thumbs up while I'm talking. I just want to make sure, because I'll be going over a lot. So, all right. So, like Ms. Katie said, my name is Sterling Johnson. I am co-director of Ajo Center for Sustainable Agriculture, and brief a brief update. We started Ajo Center for Sustainable Agriculture back in 2008 as a grassroots efforts. Since 2014, 2013, Ajo CSA has become a 501c nonprofit incorporated. We have applied and received federal grants through USDA, like the Beginning Farmers, Young Farmers and Ranchers Grant. We are, and we actually helped push the bill in Arizona to pass the Arizona bill that would give that the Arizona state would give some money to farmers who were willing to train beginning farmers, because that's the way this started. The apprenticeship program started. It was like there was no place to learn, and when you want to work at a farm, they want qualified people to attend the farmers market. Farmers that can grow food, attend the farmers market, create a business, and as the average age of a farmer is 65 years old, compared to eastern states in the United States, where there is a bill there for farmers to as an essential business. You can go to and you can go to the DES and actually get funding to train, and the state will pay for your training. That's how we we didn't intend to do that, but but as we learned that farmers were getting older, and we needed more farmers and younger farmers that could do the labor intensive work, because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but also we wanted to our thing is always to find a sustainable way. So that's the balance that Ajo CSA is doing right now. So Ajo CSA is a Native government nonprofit. We actually are most of our board, about 75% of our board is Native American. As our work has not just been in Ajo, but on the Tohono reservation as well. If you guys don't know who the Tohono Nation is, it's the second largest tribe in the United States. If we translate the English word, it means desert people. We do have brother and sister tribes, which is the Akrimet Ato and the Pima. The Pimas, as some people might know them. So there's Hill River, Salt River, and Akchin Maricopa. And then if you guys want to go more further, a little bit further more than that, we actually have part of our tribe in Mexico too as well. So there's a lot of Ottoms around, and we are now, as our history shows us, we are a farming tribe, and part of our farming is growing out traditional foods that can sustain themselves in this climate. For some of you guys may not know, no, there are traditional foods. Somebody that may know, there are traditional foods that are out there, like tepary beans, Lima lima beans, cowpeas, watermelons, and different types of things that have either been here or migrated through our through the centuries, through the Jesuits or the Spanish missionaries who brought food here. No, like wheat, like the Sonoran white wheat, or Father, they call it the Father Kino Heritage Fruit Heritage Project, which is a variety of pomegranates and figs that have now been brought over here, transplanted, and then given and then grown out throughout the throughout Arizona. So with that, our work has not just been education. We actually just recently, since 2020, during the pandemic, RCCA transitioned into emergency food response as we took COVID-19 relief funds to help feed the town of Ajo, as well as 7 districts of the Tohono Nation. We we're still in the response as we are slowing down, as we are starting to see less and less more people responding to COVID. During that time, COVID was a really big thing. People lost their jobs, people couldn't do their work, and for some of us, we grew up in the city. You can just go to the store and find food, and if you run out of certain foods, you can always go to another location. That wasn't the case for the town of Ajo and the town of and the villages of the Tohono Nation, because the town saw a real hard time when people from Phoenix were buying the food from smaller towns and taking them out when the panic buying was happening. And the store is no more than 2 miles away from me, from at most from the residents. But in the Tohono Nation, it's further. You'll hear people driving anywhere from 60 to 120 miles just to go to a grocery store and buy their foods. That we're literally in a food desert, and the definition of food desert too as well. That there's no food nearby other than what's around. If people are fortunate enough to learn their culture, it is really something that we continue to push as part of AHO-CSA's narrative and creating a sustainable future, which is why now AHO-CSA does continue to educate generations, both young and old, to about harvesting traditional food, because we have young adults and we have young elders who are in their 50s going on to their 60s who never harvested because they never were taught. They were always taught to survive and continue to work, and it really never went too much into the culture because it was in survival mode. When you have the other thing to this is that when you have a household and you have 2 to 3 other families in there, and everyone's making minimum wage, all that money doesn't add up, and it really showed when the pandemic hit, when people were used to buying things in bulk and bringing them home to their families. When it was limited to how much you could purchase every time, that really hurt a lot of people. We actually had the school come to us, pick up emergency food boxes and take them to the villages where the kids were at, and their villages to help feed them. With that, you know, it's we're really pushing our traditional foods as a way of um, um, feeding themselves. We empower the people to take to use the traditional foods, like you saw on this here in this write up. It says adopt this Northern Desert Crop Program. That is our food that we um, that's our seed saving program, which we grow. Like I mentioned, we have an apprenticeship program where our apprentices actually grow out traditional seeds, both in a modern and a traditional way of growing. And we save the seeds so that we can continue to give it out to the community. This and to response to this, we have seen families and communities actually start investing in growing foods for themselves, growing food for their families, and we're continuing to see that grow as we have an office on the Donaldson Reservation at the in the center of pretty much the town's um, center, which is sales, where you will find mostly all the grocery stores, shopping plaza, um, resources, where you pay your bills for electricity, water, um, are in this area. And so we actually have an office space where we can give out traditional seats for free. We attend various events. Like we this year, we attended the first in 2.5 years. We actually attended the first rodeo, um, and we actually attended the parade where we actually brought farmers together on the Dawn Out the Nation to create a float, and we gave out seats to almost 1,000 people in that parade. So all of our outreach does that much work, and you will find we can move on to the next one. In the so with that, I talked about modern and traditional ways. So I actually will have our apprentice who's currently working at this dryland farm right that you see on the screen talk about farming, traditional farming, in the place that you see. So go ahead, Jesse. Jesse's our apprentices, one of our apprentices at this time, and I would like him to talk about what he does here at the dryland field.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Kind of got black for a minute. Yeah, my name's Jesse Garcia. I work out here in the dryland farming. Working out here is kind of like a different experience compared to, I guess, like commercial farming, where they have running water and pipes and alfalfa valves. Here, we mainly just rely on the rainwater. We pretty much harvest the rainwater from the summer rains and that come to our ponds, and we'll fill it up, and we're hoping it will last us all season. This past year, we pretty much planted corn, squash, melons, and we are using one of our ponds now. And pretty much that will carry us on for probably next couple of months. But that's how we would water our plants, being that we don't have no running water. We do have a well out here, but I mean, we rarely use it. We kind of just rely on the rainwater. And it's a good amount that provides us. And working here, it's an experience. You learn how to use the land, how to use different kinds of practices. Some don't work, some do. It's been fun. The only times I've kind of regret working out there is when it rains because it gets really muddy. really muddy, and then sometimes the area gets flooded to where we couldn't be able to leave the village. I'm located here in the village of Kellick. That's where the farm is located. It's probably like less than a mile from the village, but it does provide a good source of food for the for the community, and then for the buyers as well as we go out and sell them. It's a different kind of work experience, because we're just basically working with the land. We're not using any trenches or anything. Well, we're making our man-made trenches to help will flow the water to where we need it to go. And it's been, yeah, I've been here for maybe 8 years, maybe a little longer. These practices with Ajo and working there with the dryland farms, has kind of helped me, start my own business. I pretty much been growing for, yeah, maybe like about 10 years now, before my kids were born. I got, tons of fruit trees, and learning different practices from both places, is very beneficial to help me, to start and to take care of my own garden. But it's been rough, learning my own, but I do like it. I enjoy it. I'm pretty much learning every day. Working out on the farm's fun. There's just I guess new different things every day, and it's very exciting. There's a lot of changes that has happened to that farm over the past years, and I'm very excited to where it's going. As they believe it's a 60-acre farm, and we're only using, I think, 48 maybe, or somewhere around there. But we're hoping to try to use the whole field sometime later in the future. But it's getting there.
All right, Jesse. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Just like this is all done on rain. And Jesse, can you talk a little bit about harvesting? What do you guys do at the farm? Because it's a little bit different from what most people do.
Okay, yeah. Harvesting, yeah, that's a bigger challenge. Being that we try not to use any heavy equipment. At one time we were, but it just kind of what you call it, breaks the pods. We lose more beans than we do better off by hand picking. And hand picking has been done for years, and generations from before our time. We would go and weed by hand, harvest by hand, roll them out into a tarp, and then go and use a combine or the tarp wise. Well, there's two methods. One will be by a tarp. We will pile them up in a tarp, roll it up, and start beating it with the stick just to make all the beans fall off, and use the wind to carry off the debris, the trash, and all this broken stems. Another one would be from a combine. The man-made machine would come. We would chop all the beans off, line them up in a row, and then go and run the combine over it. The combine will pretty much suck up all the beans and throw them into a bin. And we have been very successful over the past couple of years. I know this past year was one of our good harvests. We probably got maybe over 1,000 pounds, which probably has been a while since we've seen that seen that amount. But it's different practices. More of the times we're here, being that we're out in the wild, we try to plant more, because we have to deal with the wildlife and just creatures that will come around and get into our plants. So we'll try to share, do half and half, plant some so they can have their part, and then we will still have some for ourselves. So it's been a hassle, but I mean, there's nothing really you can do. They pretty much come up and then go. But yeah, working in these two different areas, it's pretty challenging, but it's also a good benefit to us. Keeps us out, keeps us out working in the field longer.
All right. Thank you, Jesse. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Yeah, this is more pictures, harvesting now using tractors, using modern equipment, like Jesse said. This is the combine machine. It's actually was a specially adjusted machine because of the beans. The beans are really small. The machine that it had set was set for like lava beans and pinto beans, which are a little bit bigger. But like that, they made adjustments so that the temporary beans could be harvested from this machine. Go ahead and go to the next one. With that, we have gotten to do this every year. We also have a day where we do seed blessing and a planting day, and we also have a harvest day where we invite the community. We do these tours for the schools on the Tohono Nation. Some of you guys don't know, we do have public schools and we do have BIA schools. There's two main high schools, several middle schools, and and then elementary schools. There's a lot, or small schools. So those are kind of things that we go ahead and that we do our best to reach to the youth, and also invite them to come out and see this in action, to make a connection to the culture. And the best other way we best reach out to the community is actually economic development. We actually in 2020 we had only one meeting. This was in February, so 2 weeks before the government shut down. We actually had our first meeting, and our meeting was to create a farmers market. For some of you guys who may not know, the Optums don't have. We have people that sell, but actually, to bring people together, it's I'm trying to best represent the language. It's very hard to translate Optum to English as if it means different things. So what we did was we wanted to create a space for our vendors. So we actually worked with the district on the Tohono Nation, where we actually work with our tribal leaders, and sorry, it's the Optum Farmers Market, not the Ajo Farmers Market. Yeah, oh, actually, Ajo Farm, yeah. So so the market's called the Optum Farmers Market, and this helped um, create a space for vendors as well as farmers, small farmers who grow traditional foods, like Jesse himself and other up and coming farmers who needed a place to sell their food. So we created this space. We invited artisans, and it's actually a native and indigenous market. So this is so non-natives are more than welcome to come and attend, but it's only by invitation. So this happened this past Friday. We started off with just 17 vendors, and we had created almost 120 vendors since 2020. Our first meeting went pretty well. We had a virtual meeting, a virtual market in December of 2020, and it was virtual all the way till August of 2021, and in October 2021 we actually had our first in-person market, and then since then we had almost monthly until the last strain of COVID came out. So we had to shut down due to the Tohono Nation's chair told us that we couldn't do the market, so we actually closed down. But since then, since June of last year, actually it's almost a year, we've been doing a market every month since June 2022. So with that, I started doing the markets, and we do a lot of outreach. So I'm actually gonna have another person present on the work that they do as far as what Ajo CSA does. Actually, Jude, go ahead and talk about what you are doing.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Duke Patricio. I'm the youth coordinator for the Ajo CSA. One of the main things I do is go out to the schools and work with the youth. Most of the schools have a garden club out here, so they have their own space that we go in and plant. One of the main ones I work in is here at the elementary school in Cells. There, I've been collaborating with them, kind of helping them utilize most of their space and teaching the kids about some of the traditional crops that we grow. Like Sterling mentioned with the outreach, we do have a lot of information that we give out based off of well, not all the plants, but most of the traditional crops that we grow, and along with the seeds that we give out. The schools have also invited us out, and we've done a bunch of outreach to some of the events that they've had at, not only reaching out to the students, but getting their parents involved too, and trying to encourage them to go out and plant back at home. Because, not only teaching about trying to be self-sustainable, but at the same time, these crops are a big part of our culture and our tradition. So trying to get more people involved and get in tune with being self-sustainable, even if it means only growing just one plant. I know a lot of people get discouraged when they think about growing farms and stuff like that. They think that they have to go out and create a whole field or even turn their whole backyard into a garden. But I try to encourage them even just to start small, just so that they get the feel of it. And with the outreach, we also have a series of workshops that we give out or that we do. This month, we're also providing a workshop every Wednesday, along with the virtual workshop that'll be every Thursday. Last week, we had one on monsoon planting, which was basically revolved around what Jesse had talked about there on the farms. The Ajo farming or flood farming is a big part of the way we used to grow back then culturally. And I was just talking to people about how you can do it on a smaller scale and just how to utilize the rainwater when the monsoons comes through, because that's our planting season and that's how the fields are going done. But also here in the desert, we have a bunch of wild foods that grow. So we also have workshops on that we go out and we'll harvest. Well, just this past March, we went out and we harvested the cholla buds, or chorum to us. And those are the little buds that grow on the cactus. And that's one of the big foods that a lot of people go out and harvest. So trying to spread awareness, or even just giving people areas to plant at, or even people that come down to the nation that just want to experience and taste the foods. Here on the screen are some of our recipe cards that we give out. We go out and we do a lot of information. So like I said, a lot of the traditional plants that we give out, along with the seeds, so we have recipes that go along with them. Just trying to teach people how to use them, but even at the same time, encouraging them to take some of these plants and make their own creations. We've done a lot of outreach. One of the other projects that we've been working on is there's a group here called Intermountain, and they reached out to me about starting a garden. They had the funding and everything, but they wanted us to come out and kind of more so mentor them and teach them how to manage it and how to start it. So thus I asked the CSA to come in, and since about February, we've been collaborating back and forth and trying to make workshops and utilize the space. Right now, we're in the process of trying to get the fence going. And once that fence goes up, we have a lot more workshops there and have a planning day, and also some other cultural events that we do here on the nation. Another thing that we did was go out and make their with the elder bags. And one of the districts here, well, Sells District, they went and asked us to help provide for some of the elders around the area. So we provided a bunch of the traditional foods, and me and some of the interns went out to help out with that. It was pretty good experience to go out and provide that for some of the elders here in the area. As far as the youth are always one of the main things. My main thing is trying to get the youth involved, to encourage them to get their parents involved with growing. And at the same time, I feel we could build a stronger community through that. So, I mean, that's just some of the work that I do as an outreach coordinator. And I'll give it back to you, Sterling.
And Sterling, if I could break in for just a moment, we have some questions that have come in that maybe between you and Jesse and Jute we can get answered. So the first question is, how is the participation and retention of those who join the beginning farmer and training program?
I'd say more than 80%, 85% retention. And I'll go a step further. About 60% actually go and pursue agricultural careers. That's the other thing that we lightly touch on, is that one time we went to the school in Ajo, and actually not this grade, but the next grade. I believe this is pre-K. We went to the elementary school, and we went to a third grade class, and we said, "Who wants to be a farmer?" And we had a kid to just say crying, or start crying, saying, "Oh, I don't want to be a farmer. It's too much hard work." And we just looked at him. We're just kind of we kind of laugh, and we're like, "No, it's not just the picture of someone in overalls and straw hat with the wheat in his teeth or anything like that. It's totally different." And we try to teach people that farming is so much more, advanced, from not just from the permaculture, but also technology. There's going to be drones are the future, where they're going to be going to be taking care of the field. Um, computers are really always a key. But actually, there's autonomous tractors that actually can drive the tractor and plow your field and get it ready and plant it. Just all based on a computer, and no one doesn't have to be out there the whole time having to control the tractor. Yes, they might have to be there to watch over the tractor, but it's not as intensive as it once was. No. So we always try to teach people that there's a different way, and there's always going to be different ways to do farming. And it's going to be using traditions. It's going to be using modern practices and new practices, as we are starting to learn. Like
Sterling, that's actually a great transition to our next question that somebody had, and it's referring to your Adopt a Sonoran Desert Crop and those recipe cards that we had up. And
Yes.
They want to know how you found the recipes. For example, have they been passed down through generations, or are these newly discovered recipes?
These are partially a mix of new recipes. These are just, like, agriculture has so many outlets. No, don't forget, there's things called restaurants. There's things called cafes. There's things called McDonald's, or all these things run on farms. And but and there's things called Culinary Institute. There are things that people can get into and may not be on the ground planting the seeds, but you could be someone that can interpret what a farmer grows into something delicious. What some of the things that I have tasted was from chefs who were willing to push the limits. And one of the things that always got me was this pepper bean ice cream, which was really unique. And it was good. I mean, it didn't taste, it doesn't have that creamy taste like milk, but for a vegetarian or a vegan, that something might help them eat better. And that's one of the things that we always continues to push forward, is that um farmers are the key to future, and using the water in a respectful way. And we say that in a way that Autumn say in a respectful way, is that more is to use what is needed, not as what um not to overuse no the resources, which is what's going on now. It was really hard to watch the city of Phoenix expand. Everyone's excited because it's an economic opportunity, but it's really hard to be excited when water is drying out. I know there was that couple of months ago where that town ran out of water, and people invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into this town, and now they don't have water because of the cutting back on resources. And that's one of the things that's scary about now, that there was a lot of farmlands in Arizona that are disappearing. And if you go to the Arizona State Ag Department building at the state legislature, there's a post, or there's a, I don't say poster, but a sign, actually, a sign up there. It says Arizona agriculture is a $24 billion industry. And it's not going to be there for expanding and doing urban sprawl all over Arizona. And now that's one of the things that we promote on the Thana Optimum culture, is like we want people to utilize their resources, because there's going to be a time when it's not going to be there, and we need our food to continue to grow and adapt. And there's so much about our traditional foods that we do, that we teach, and it's not enough time to talk about it here. But all of our stuff we do, we make the basic information available online or in person, but we teach the valuable things through our apprenticeship, our internship program that we do, both in Ajo and on the Tana Nation.
Well, Sterling, thank you so much for your time today. And Jesse and Ju, we appreciate you sharing with us all the amazing things that the Ajo Center for Sustainability or Sustainable Agriculture is doing. Great educational programs and community programs as well. And I put your guys' website up on the screen so people can visit that to learn a little bit more, along with your contact information. So thank you again for your time this morning. We sure appreciate you.
No, we appreciate it so much. And to all the teachers, thank you for all the hard work that you do. It doesn't go unnoticed. It really, I much appreciate all the teachers, anybody, whether it's trades or elementary to high school. No, you guys' work is much appreciated, and we do our best to educate everyone and do everything we can to create a better future for everyone. So this is just our part in the agriculture department, but as educators, and future educators in your schools, please, thank you so much.